You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
In the last half hour, the Department of Health and Human Services laid out their plans after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. We'll review their next steps.
Plus, an escaped inmate recaptured again for the second time this month. The answers we're working to figure out.
Plus, a surprise hearing on the January 6th Capitol riot set to take place in the next hour. We'll take a closer look at what you can expect this afternoon. And with that, we'd like to welcome you into this Tuesday morning. Thank you so much for joining us for WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Marie Waxel.
And I'm Alex Torres. Now, in the last half hour, the Department of Health and Human Services laid out its plan to help women trying to get an abortion after the Supreme Court's decision on Roe v. Wade. Secretary Xavier Becerra says they want to make sure that what they do is within the confines of the law. So they're looking to actually increase access to medication abortion so that it can be mailed to women in states that have banned the procedure. That's something some government officials are already looking to ban. But Becerra says that the pill has been FDA approved for years and is safe. The health secretary also says they will do whatever they can to protect women who do travel out of state to get an abortion. Now, after the Supreme Court ruling on abortion, sales of over-the-counter emergency contraceptives, they've spiked.
Retailers like CVS, Walmart, and Rite Aid are now limiting how many Plan B pills you can buy. The Yellowhammer Fund is providing free emergency contraceptives to women in Alabama and other states in the South. You can order it on their website, and the pill will be shipped to you by mail. 2 minutes after 11 o'clock on your Tuesday morning, a mild summer start, we should say, to your day. Some of us, though, could see a little rain later this afternoon.
That's why we want to check in with meteorologist Grace Anello with what we can expect.
Yes, well, you guys are exactly right. We could see a little bit rain later today. I have the timing on that in just a couple minutes. Right now in Huntsville, however, we are dry, overcast at that, but definitely dry. Temperatures right now hanging out in the low 80s for us, and our WAAY 31 storm tracker early warning radar network is clear at the moment. But like you guys alluded to, it's not going to stay that way all day. All right, well, temperatures for us in Scottsboro, 81, Gunnersville, 79, and over in Moulton, 82 for you right now. So honestly, a temperate start to the morning, not too bad. As we push through the afternoon, many of us hang out with temperatures there in the upper 80s in a mix of clouds and sun. Our high temperature for today will be just about 90 for all of us. Well, unfortunately, rain is not out of our system just yet. I've got your radar timing and your 7-day coming up in just a few minutes.
Well, we are working to find out the name of a person who was arrested alongside an escaped inmate. Johnny Payne was recaptured in Madison County last night. That's after a brief chase that ended at the intersection of Charlie Patterson and Moores Mill Road. Now, Payne escaped from a mental health facility in Chattanooga Saturday. This was actually his second time he's escaped and been recaptured this month. Well, meanwhile, the search is still on for this escaped inmate. The Alabama Department of Corrections says William Walker escaped Sunday morning. He was serving 20 years for manufacturing a controlled substance. Now, if you see him or know where he is, make sure you do call police. And a third escaped inmate still on the run, Philip Bradford. The Jefferson County Sheriff's Office says new video revealed that the deputy may not have been handling Bradford properly when he stole an ambulance and escaped UAB Hospital. Deputies believe he may now be driving a silver GMC pickup, and that was stolen from Coleman County.
Happening today, a Priceville woman is convicted of killing her own father is expected to learn her fate. A jury handed down the guilty verdict for Angela Joy Vest last month. Investigators say she called 911 and told them she shot and killed her father back in 2020. All new at midday, a Florence man is behind bars accused of sexually assaulting a teenage boy. 41-year-old Andreas Jones is now charged with sodomy. According to court documents, Jones forced a 16-year-old to perform oral sex on him. It happened at the victim's grandmother's house in Florence earlier this month.
Now, in the next hour, the House Select Committee investigating the January 6th Capitol riot will hold a surprise hearing. This comes after the committee reviewed a new wave of evidence.
ABC's M. Nguyen goes over what we can expect this afternoon.
In a surprise development, the House Select Committee investigating the deadly January 6 attack on the U.S. Capitol, hearing live testimony from an aide to Donald Trump's chief of staff, Mark Meadows. Cassidy Hutchinson has previously offered recorded testimony to the panel. That bombshell testimony indicating that Meadows may have been warned about the potential violence on January 6 and that several House Republicans had sought or discussed pardons from Trump after the insurrection.
Mr. Gates and Mr. Brooks, I know, have both advocated for there to be a blanket pardon for members involved in that meeting.
The accused Republicans have pushed back, calling the committee illegitimate. Today's hearing comes as the Department of Justice appears to be ramping up its criminal probe into efforts to overturn the 2020 election results. Trump's former attorney, John Eastman, claiming in a new lawsuit and an interview with Fox News that federal agents seized his phone last week and forced him to open it with biometric data.
This warrant is invalid on its face.
Federal prosecutors also raiding Jeffrey Clark's home, the former DOJ official who was allegedly willing to have the Justice Department take official action to stop President Biden's transition to the White House. Trump plans to replace his acting Attorney General Jeffrey Rosen with Clark, but Rosen and two other senior DOJ officials testified before the Select Committee they would resign if Clark was installed. The panel has also just heard from Alex Holder, a filmmaker who had substantial access to President Trump, his family, and closest allies before and after January 6. He has since handed over his footage to the Select Committee. Em Nguyen, ABC News on Capitol Hill.
You can watch the Capitol riot hearing live right here on WAAY 31 after this newscast.
We'll also have a breakdown of what actually happened on WAAY 31 News at 4.
New information this morning on that deadly train derailment in Missouri. Federal investigators are now working to determine exactly what led up to the Amtrak train hitting a dump truck while on its way from Los Angeles to Chicago. At least 3 people are dead and more than 40 others are in the hospital. Another deadly Amtrak crash took place this weekend here in Alabama. Birmingham police say Corey Jones of Centerpoint drove around crossing guards before his car was hit by a train.
And all new at midday, G7 leaders are earmarking up to $5 billion in funds to help address global food insecurity. The U.S. will foot more than half of the bill, with President Joe Biden committing nearly $3 billion. The White House says the Russian attack on Ukraine hindered grain shipments, which will force tens of millions of people into poverty this year. Well, happening right now, the Food Bank of North Alabama is giving away some food at the Sand Mountain Amphitheater. You're asked to use the Edmondson Street entrance. The giveaway ends at 2 this afternoon. And happening now, the community is welcoming a veteran into his new home.
Let's go ahead and take a live look at this ceremony that's set to get underway in just a moment. Scott Barkalow is now a proud owner of this beautiful house in Athens, built specifically for him. The house is all free thanks to the Helping a Hero program. Barkalow lost his leg while serving in Afghanistan back in 2003. Again, this is a live look at that big welcome home ceremony taking place in Athens. We'll, of course, have the very latest for you on WAAY 31 News at 4.
And it's actually amazing because I was there for the groundbreaking ceremony. To actually see this home built, I can only imagine it means so much for him.
Well, this morning, we here at WAAY 31 want to take a moment and correct a mistake we made during this very newscast yesterday. We incorrectly used a photo of Madison Fire Chief David Bailey while telling a story about a man charged with possession of child porn. It was a shameful mistake that we deeply regret. And now we try to make it right. This man, David Bailey of Sylvania, is back in jail after a 20-count child porn possession indictment. After being arrested in March for possession of child pornography, he was released on bond. This man was later indicted by a DeKalb County grand jury in April and rearrested earlier this month. He now wants his bond to be lowered to the $75,000 it was the first time he bonded out. Again, we want to once again apologize to Madison Fire Chief David Bailey for our mistake. Here at WAAY 31, we strive to uphold our motto, coverage you can count on. And Chief, We know we failed you and we failed our viewers as well. And for that, we are deeply sorry.
Coming up, U.S. veterans wanting to take action after Russia's invasion of Ukraine.
We take an inside look at what one local veteran experienced when he helped troops train.
And we will be warm today with a high temperature near 90. Clouds and sun for many of us, but rain for the others. I've got your radar coming up.
Coverage you can count on. You're watching WAAY 31 News with the WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network.
New information, President Joe Biden is expected to announce steps to ramp up NATO security against Russia. That's on top of a new round of sanctions on 70 separate entities. In response, Russia's foreign minister added 25 citizens, including First Lady Jill Biden, to a stop list, meaning they're not allowed in the country. After seeing the violence unfold in Ukraine, many veterans here felt a call to help. It's also what led to the capture of 2 Alabama men.
WAAY 31's Nicole Zedek gives us an inside look at one local veteran's experience into what fellow military veterans Andy Wynn and Alex Druki went through before being captured by Russians.
Even though it's not a great situation we're in right now, I know it was the right decision for him to go there, because he felt very strongly called to do it.
Andy Quinn's fiance, Joy Black, continues to hold out hope that her husband-to-be will soon return home.
I'm not really trying to think about the bad things. I'm trying to stay very focused on the positive.
After seeing the combat firsthand, Sean Schofield says there could be one positive.
What they've got going for them is that there are pictures circulating around of them captive, under control of, Russian forces, alive.
When Schofield left Coleman, Alabama to help defend Ukraine back in March, he knew being captured by Russian forces was a possibility, but a possibility that his fellow soldiers would prevent at all costs.
We made a deal. It's just, if you have an opportunity to prevent me from falling into enemy hands, just don't let it happen.
Although he never met Andy Quinn nor Alex Druki while fighting overseas, he can only imagine what they're going through right now.
Rather than speculate, I just hope we get him back.
Once he's back, the world will definitely be a much better place.
And that was WAAY 31's Nicole Zedek reporting there for us. Again, Andy Wynn's fiance, Joy Black, continues to hold out hope that Andy and Alex will return home safely.
And she's also thankful for all of the support the State Department is providing during this time. Meanwhile, there will be a rally in support of Ukraine this weekend here in Huntsville. It will be at the camp in Mid-City this Sunday at noon.
Time now 11:15, another day of travel chaos.
What's causing these mass delays and cancellations? Well, yet another day of travel woes because of staffing shortages and bad weather.
FlightAware reports more than 400 flights have already been canceled this morning. No cancellations reported so far at the Huntsville International Airport, which is a good sign. It was the same story yesterday when airlines had to cancel more than 700 flights and delayed hundreds more.
But there is some good news. If you're not flying and hitting the road, gas prices are finally starting to fall. AAA reports Alabama has some of the cheapest prices in the country at just under $4.50. The national average is also falling for the second week in a row. Prices now sit at $4.89. Well, we want to make sure to check in with WAAY 31's meteorologist Grace Anello. It's pretty good to be out driving today.
Right.
Not bad.
Dry now, but of course that all can change as we get into a more seasonable, active summer pattern.
Yes. Well, you are exactly right, and that is what's on the frontier. Right now, looking across the state, not too bad here. Many of us looking at some of those low-hanging clouds, making us a little bit foggy, but temperatures mild for us, and many of us are dry. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network further confirming that. Not a single shower or storm right now on the radar, but it is not going to stay that way all day long. So I want to walk you through the timing of this. This puts us today, Tuesday, at about 1:30. We are dry. There's some clouds in the area, but then push further into this evening. We're talking about 6:30 tonight. In some of our counties along Highway 59, we'll start to see heavy downpours, thunderstorms, hear rumbles of thunder, things to that nature. These storms continue to strengthen and move towards Cherokee County as we push further into this evening. But then the good news is, by the time we get to 11 o'clock tonight, what we're left with mainly clouds and some of us even peeking through with a little bit of sun just before that sun does set. So I do want to stress, not all of us will see rain, but those that do will see heavy downpours. And what can we expect? Well, between 1/4 and 1/2 inch of rain for the next couple of days, so not an all-out washout for most of us. All right, temperatures right now hanging out in the upper 70s, low 80s across the northern part of the state, but our high temperature today will be near 90. So that leaves your iced coffee forecast at a very pleasant medium. No need for the large or extra large, today, because, well, the medium should do it. So I'm leaving your lunch forecast at 4 stars. We've got 85 there for your lunchtime. Again, that mix of clouds and sun. So not going to be your perfect sunshiny day, but also not going to be too bad for most of us. And then for dinner, I'm giving you 4 stars as well with those isolated showers and storms, mainly to our southeastern counties. All right. Now I want to let you know, we will be feeling a breeze today, so actually temperature-wise, we won't be too bad. That high temperature forecasted at 90, a breeze of, well, between 5 and 10 miles per hour all throughout the day should help us feel pretty pleasant if we're not raining in the area. All right, so let's get to that 7-day forecast we talked about today. Really, most of us will see sunshine, a little bit of cloud cover, but still sun peeking through, except for our southeastern counties. You will have those rumbles of thunder and those storms on the forefront. By the time we get to Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, I've increased that chance for rain. We will see some more thunderstorms, some more showers in the area. Those temperatures pop back into the low 90s again. Now, to start your 4th of July weekend, unfortunately, I hate to be the bearer of bad news. The temperatures dip down for you Friday and Saturday, but those rain chances do increase. So if you're going to be out this weekend, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, 4th of July, on Monday, definitely have a second plan to bring some of your plans indoors, whether that be a barbecue or any other event. If you are going to be outside, I would strongly recommend bringing an umbrella with you and maybe even a rain jacket.
All right, good advice there, Grace. Thank you so much. One small step closer to a giant leap back to the moon.
The latest on the Artemis mission next.
New at midday, mission complete for Northrop Grumman's Cygnus spacecraft.
It detached from the International Space Station this morning. Here you're taking a look at it. This all happened this morning once again, and it will now burn up in the Earth's atmosphere. The spacecraft took thousands of pounds of tools and supplies to the ISS and was actually there for more than 3 months.
The Capstone spacecraft is now on its way to the moon. Here is the liftoff in New Zealand early this morning. Now, you may have seen it live right here on WAAY 31 Morning News. What a sight to see. Capstone will get to the moon in about, a few 4 short months from now.
It'll about a long distant road trip.
Right? Well, it'll then orbit the moon and collect data for the Artemis missions.
Well, talking about Artemis, the Artemis 1 mission is getting ready for liftoff. Now, this weekend, teams were able to successfully test the control system on the SLS booster rockets. Now, crews do have to replace a seal to address a liquid hydrogen leak, but NASA does plan to have Artemis 1 back on the launch pad by late August. Still no word on a launch date, but we're very much anticipating it.
Oh, yes. Well, NASA's new rocket won't be astray like this one, which crashed into the moon. Look at this. No country has laid claim to this spacecraft. This rocket impact left 2 craters, which scientists say hasn't happened before. NASA says the double crater is probably because of a large mass on both ends of the rocket.
Coming up, the White House administration just announced new steps to help women seeking to get an abortion in states where the procedure is now banned.
We take a look at those steps and an inside look at Huntsville's clinic after the monumental decision.
You're watching Alabama Broadcasters Station of the Year. Coverage you can count on. WAAY 31 Midday News starts now.
In the last hour, the Department of Health and Human Services laid out their plans after the Supreme Court overturned Roe v. Wade. We'll review their next steps. Plus an inside look at a local women's clinic after the ban.
And FDA advisors meeting once again what they're considering for the fight, COVID in the future. Thank you so much for being here with us on WAAY 31 Midday News. I'm Alex Torres-Perez.
And I'm Marie Waxel.
Well, in the last hour, like we mentioned, the Department of Health and Human Services laid out its plan to help women trying to get an abortion after the Supreme Court's decision on Roe v. Wade. Secretary Xavier Becerra says that they want to make sure that what they do is within the confines of the law. So they're looking to increase access to medication abortion so that it can be mailed to women in states that have banned the procedure. However, it's something some government officials are already looking to ban. But Becerra says that that pill has been FDA approved for years and it is safe. The health secretary says they will also do whatever they can to protect women who travel out of state in order to get an abortion.
Here in Huntsville, women seeking abortions have been turned away from the Alabama Women's Center since Friday, when the Alabama Human Life Protection Act went into effect.
CNN's Randy Kay visited the Women's Center to get the story.
Alabama Women's Center.
It's only 8 a.m. and the phones at the Alabama Women's Center in Huntsville are ringing off the hook.
Alabama Women's Center.
Just days after abortion suddenly became illegal in this state, this is now the standard response from staff.
Due to the overturn of Roe versus Wade, we recommend that you consider looking into other states.
This 18-year-old showed up at the clinic today still hoping to get an abortion, but was told they can't help her. She agreed to speak with us if we hid her identity. She says she's 2 months pregnant.
Did you know that Roe v. Wade had been overturned when you came here today?
I did, but I didn't know it was already causing places to stop doing them.
So you thought you could still come here and get an abortion today?
Yes.
And what did you think when you realized you couldn't get one?
I just don't think it's fair. No matter the situation, I feel like you should be able to have an abortion.
Dr. Yashika Robinson runs the Alabama Women's Center, one of just 3 abortion clinics that were operating in Alabama before Roe was overturned.
I felt powerless as a physician. I know how to care for these patients. It's like you have the tools to help somebody and you choose not to help them. And that was hard for me.
Abortion is now illegal in Alabama, except in cases where the health of the mother is substantially at risk or the fetus isn't expected to survive. There are no exceptions for rape or incest. If providers break the law, they could go to prison.
I know exactly what my attorneys have told me is safe for me to say. And so I feel like somebody's calling me for help and I'm giving them a vague answer, and it feels very hypocritical to me.
You're concerned about aiding and abetting.
Exactly.
This 18-year-old, who asked not to be identified, came to this clinic for an abortion just days before Roe was overturned.
I'm proud of the decision I made.
She was 11 weeks pregnant when she had her abortion and is grateful she had a choice.
What do you think about all those women who have been turned away or had appointments canceled and now will no longer be able to get an abortion here?
I feel so bad for those girls because I remember this was a hard decision for me. I couldn't imagine being looked in my face and told no.
And now, after the other 18-year-old we met was told no at the clinic, she's even more scared as she tries to figure out what to do next.
Do you feel sort of lost right now? Yeah. Do you have any idea where you'll go?
Mm-mm.
Do you feel like you're going to be forced to have this baby?
I mean, I know I'm gonna get it done, but I'm gonna try because I don't want it and I don't want to have it, so I'm gonna try to go somewhere, but it's just stressful because I feel like I might not be able to find a place in time.
Now, court actions have been filed in multiple states by abortion right advocates.
Time now 11:34, a mild summer start to your Tuesday. Some of us, though, as Grace has been saying, could see a little rain this afternoon.
So we want to go ahead and check with Grace Anello with what we can expect.
Yes, hey guys. Well, right now, at least in Gunnersville, we are clear and we are dry. Talking 11:34 here on your Tuesday afternoon, and we're looking pretty good. WAAY 31 Storm Tracker early warning radar network is dry as well, but like the two of you said, it's not going to stay that way for long. All right, well, temperatures right now hanging out in the upper 70s, low 80s for us, so a mild start to our afternoon. Really not too bad there. If you're going to get outside, well, for many of us, it's a good day to do it, but not quite for all. A lot of us will see clouds and sun. Temperatures again hanging out in the upper 90s, all leading us to a high temperature, upper 80s, all leading us to a high temperature today of 90. So upper 80s earlier throughout the day. Now there will be some isolated showers and storms, and they will be hanging out mostly to our southeastern counties. I have the timing on that coming up for you in just a few minutes. But for the most part, what you need to know right now is that we're talking mainly about some afternoon and dinner time showers. I've got more on that and your 7-day coming up in just a few minutes.
All right, thank you, Grace. Scottsboro police need your help now finding vandals. Take a look. Police are trying to figure out exactly who destroyed parts of the Jackson County Park playground bathrooms. Look at that mess they left. It happened sometime between Saturday night and Sunday morning. If you have any information, call police. Over in the Shoals, Florence police also need your help. They're trying to identify this person. Take a good look. They believe he may be connected to a recent vehicle burglary. If you have any information about who he is, call Florence police.
And right now, the FDA vaccine advisors are discussing possible strain-specific COVID vaccines. Experts are looking to see if the vaccine should specifically target the Omicron variant. Health officials anticipate coronavirus vaccines will need to be administered annually, similar to the flu shot. And 40,000 Army National Guard members have 2 days to get their first COVID vaccine or risk being booted out of the Guard. Governor Kay Ivey did ask President Joe Biden to extend Thursday's deadline as more than 300 Guardsmen wait on their religious exemption request.
Despite a slight rise in COVID inpatients, new cases overall are holding relatively steady, according to experts across the country. Johns Hopkins University reports there's been roughly 105,000 new daily cases over the past 2 weeks. Experts say cases have dropped in the Northeast and Midwest. In the meantime, Alabama added more than 8,000 cases in the last week. The test positivity rate is now at 24%. The state health department considers the majority of the state to be at a high risk of transmission.
All new at midday, the National Bridge Inventory just updated its list of decaying bridges. And there's some good news. There aren't any bridges in poor condition here in North Alabama. And those bridges that were built more than 100 years ago here, they're considered to be in fair condition. Still, Alabama got a C- on the 2022 report card for infrastructure.
Happening today, Decatur city leaders want to hear from you before they start a new revitalization project. They're hosting a public meeting on plans for a project along the 6th Avenue corridor. It starts at 4 o'clock at the Turner Searles Community Center, and you can talk directly to a team of engineers working on this project. Happening right now, Amazon needs to fill several positions, and they need to do so quickly.
So it's hosting a job fair here at the Huntsville Career Center. It will be until 2 this afternoon, so you still have some time to stop by. They're especially looking for drivers and warehouse workers.
YKTA is also looking to hire production team members and a skilled maintenance team. They're hosting an automotive job fair at the Decatur-Morgan County Chamber of Commerce until 2 o'clock as well this afternoon. Now, you don't need to apply beforehand, just walk right in.
And Lockheed Martin is expanding and bringing 200 new jobs to its Huntsville campus. It just broke ground on a new missile system integration lab yesterday. Company leaders say the project will strengthen Huntsville's connection with the defense industry.
Top talent from across the country and bringing them here, as well as really developing people here. So a good example of that is we have a really strong internship program. We have 59 summer interns that we are employing this year, and also some local high schools.
Well, the more than $16 million building is expected to open in fall of 2023. Coming up, the chase for the American dream ended tragically for dozens of immigrants.
what could be the deadliest incident involving suspected human smuggling.
And 90 degrees for your high temperature today, a mix of clouds and sun for many, but not for all. I've got a look at your radar in a couple minutes. Stay with us.
The search for a better life in the United States ended tragically for dozens of people in a semi-trailer that transformed into an oven by the intense heat.
ABC's Jim Ryan reports from Texas, where authorities found 48 people dead inside that trailer in San Antonio.
A person walking along a tree-lined road near Lackland Air Force Base heard a cry for help and found a big rig with around 100 people stuffed into the trailer. First responders arrived within minutes.
Looks like quite a few of them are already deceased.
Initially, 46 bodies were discovered. San Antonio Fire Chief Charles Hood says they were stacked on top of each other. As for the survivors,
they were suffering from heat stroke, heat exhaustion, no signs of water in the vehicle. It was a refrigerated tractor trailer, but there was no visible working AC unit.
Paramedics said the victims' bodies were hot to the touch. More than a dozen, including some children, were taken to hospitals in the area. The mayor of San Antonio calls it a horrific human tragedy.
There are individuals who are no longer with us, who had families, who were likely trying to find a better life.
Homeland Security investigators are talking with 3 potential suspects in what may be the deadliest incident involving suspected human smuggling in Texas. A truck driver convicted in the 2017 deaths of 10 people in his trailer, also in San Antonio, is serving life in prison. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
Coming up, a new study released saying recreational use of marijuana could be bad for you.
What those health risks are, coming up.
New at midday, the Department of Justice is preparing to take a closer look at the mass shooting at an elementary school in Texas. The Critical Incident Review Team will start its first on-site visit to Robb Elementary School this week. They will conduct interviews, investigate documents, and collect other relevant information to get a full understanding of what happened.
Well, happening right now, from a jet-setting British socialite and philanthropist to a convicted felon. Right now, Ghislaine Maxwell is sitting in a federal courtroom in New York waiting to learn how long she'll have to serve. She was convicted of helping Jeffrey Epstein sexually abuse underage girls. Maxwell denies abusing anyone. Her attorneys want no more than 5 years in prison, but prosecutors say she deserves 30 years or more behind bars. A former Nazi guard at this concentration camp in Berlin will likely spend the rest of his life in prison. The 101-year-old man was sentenced to 5 years for knowingly and willfully aiding and abetting in murder. German officials say he took part in shooting and gassing prisoners at the camp for 3 years. The man's name has not been made public because of Germany's privacy laws, but officials say he's shown no remorse and denies what he did.
New at midday, new research shines a light on the potential dangers of smoking weed. A study from the University of Toronto found that the use of recreational marijuana appears to be linked to an increased risk of hospitalization. Researchers say you are 22% more likely to go to the emergency room or need some sort of medical attention. And right now, the Alabama Medical Cannabis Commission is setting rules and regulations for medical marijuana growers here in the state. Now, those guidelines will be drawn up by the end of July. The commission will pick about a half dozen farmers to actually grow it, but growing won't actually start until probably next year. Well, let's go ahead and check in with WAAY 31 meteorologist Grace Anello. It looks pretty good for now, but you might want to keep that umbrella.
Yeah, and we need that rain though, Grace.
We do. So I'm with you, Alex. It does look good. And yeah, Marie, you're right. We actually are in a drought in North Alabama. So the rain a little bit later is not going to be a bad thing. I want you guys to remember that. All right, well, right now, hey, in Decatur, we are not looking half bad. A little bit of sunshine there. The same can be said in Muscle Shoals. Temperatures there in the low 80s. So not a bad start to your Tuesday morning. Now, 11:48 and your WAAY 31 storm Storm Tracker Early Warning Radar Network looking clear for us at the moment. But let's skip straight to the radar. I know why you guys are here. You want to hear when it's going to rain. Well, we will have some rain and thunderstorms pushing to our southeastern counties later this afternoon. So this puts us at 2 o'clock. Really, our southeastern counties just cloud cover at that point of the day. But by the time we push through a little further and get to 7, now we've introduced some widespread showers and thunderstorms. The main threats I'm tracking with this are heavy downpours and gusty wind. So lots of rain in these systems, talking Cherokee County, things like that, pushing along I-59 throughout the rest of the day. And those do stay with us at 8 p.m., push a little bit further south. Again, gusty wind, heavy rain associated with these. So I want to make you mindful of that. Now, the rest of us will stay dry throughout the day. Now, the good news is by the time we get to about bedtime tonight, some cloud cover here for most of us, but we are all at least dry. Well, I want to let you know that over the course of the next couple days, we do have rain chances, but what we're expecting is between 1/4 and 1/2 inch. So not all of us will see rain. Those that do will see heavy downpours. And unfortunately, that's just kind of the nature of the beast here in summer. All right, well, let's jump over to temperatures right now. Most of us hanging out in the upper 70s, low 80s. Huntsville, you're at 82. The same can be said for Moulton. So at least for right now, if you're outside, well, it's not all that bad of a day to be out. So with our high temperature today looking at 90, I'm going to go ahead and leave us with a medium for our iced coffee forecast. That's all you're really going to need for today. Now, for lunch, I'm giving you a 4-star forecast on your lunch. We will have a mix of clouds and sun for most of us. Temperature at that point looking like it's going to be in the mid-80s for most of us. Not too bad. Now, for dinner, I have a bit of a caveat with this one. If you're in our northwestern counties, 4 stars for you. Still a mix of clouds and sun. Temperatures there a little bit warmer, but still in the mid-80s. If you're in our southeastern counties, this is the time of day when you will have those thunderstorms and those heavy downpours in your area. Well, from temperature perspective, we're really not going to be half bad today. That forecasted high is 90, and we will have a breeze between 5 and 10 miles an hour moving through the area all day today. So for most of us, really not a half bad day. All right, well, I feel like we've covered Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday. I am upping those chances of precipitation, seeing a little more rain in the system. Those temperatures still hanging out in the low 90s for us, but take a look at your 4th of July weekend. Unfortunately, rain is back in the forecast.
Well, it is Armed Forces Week.
And this is the place you want to be tonight. We'll tell you how you can celebrate along with us right here at WAAY 31. Breaking news just into our WAAY 31 newsroom. A federal court of appeals lets Tennessee's 6-week abortion ban take effect after the overturning of Roe v. Wade. This comes before Tennessee's other abortion ban, known as the so-called trigger ban, is set to restrict abortion almost entirely in less than a month. Now, both measures would make performing an abortion a felony, and doctors could face up to 15 years in prison.
Well, you might have to update how you make payments on those student loans. More than 2 million Americans will have a new federal student loan servicer next month. The company, FedLoan, is ending its contract with the government, so you should be getting an email about your new servicer and how to sign up for their repayment plan. And happening tonight, some of Madison County's top community leaders will battle it out on the ball field.
That's right. The Armed Forces Community Softball game is set for 6 o'clock tonight right here at Toyota Field. Madison County leaders will face off against leaders from Redstone Arsenal. A year's worth of bragging rights on the line. Of course, it's all part of the Chamber's annual Armed Forces Week. Admission and parking are free.
Ooh.
Also, I'll be out there emceeing the event tonight.
I know her.
You know, they're even going to let me leave here with a storm tracker, so it's going to be a lot of fun out there. Come out, say hello, and cheer on our local service members and, of course, our community leaders. Lots of fun for everyone.
How about that, Marie taking out the storm tracker today? I love it. I love it. All right, well, most of us hanging out near 90 for our high today. Mix of sun and clouds for many of us, but rain and showers for the rest of us. We'll catch you back in a couple hours.